It's a pleasure to have you with us today, Aaron. Knowing that you come from humble beginnings and you continue with your journey, going forward. And I know you haven't too long ago made the transition over to the US.
Yeah.
And we have been, speaking for a good while pertaining to going forward. Just a little bit on Aaron, guy, before I let Aaron, take over, and Aaron will be able to chat with you. Aaron is somebody I met over a year or so ago. Aaron went to Fatima College, and we were chatting. He was recommended, I believe, to me from the technical director of Trinidad and Tobago, Dion Lafoucault, good friend of mine. And from the moment I started, speaking with Aaron, I realized that Aaron is a special kid. Special in the sense that he's very bright, very intelligent, and he's a very humble being. And that caught me when I spoke with Aaron immediately. And he can carry himself. And this is what you want to see in a young man or a young woman or a teenager, if you would say, how they carry themselves, how they speak. And I was really impressed by it. And I continued to chat with Aaron along the way, I think. And it was so wonderful and, so informative too when I would chat with Aaron, some of the things he would chat with me about. And I would learn from him. I know I never told him this before, but you learn from everyone, Aaron, when you speak with people. You learn from them. You are not too high or anyone is too mighty not to learn. God has a way of using the teeny weeny, tiny little things to teach you lessons so you could learn. And one of the things I've learned from Aaron in terms of Aaron is just his calmness and his personality, which is really nice. Really, really, really nice. Aaron and we put something together, Kendall Rez and myself, and we were working hard to get Aaron into school. And we came across Howard University, who was very much interested. As you know, Howard is a top school. And, we send out Aaron information. We're interested, and Aaron were working feverishly on it. Getting into Howard University, we were very happy about it. Just as any school, getting a kid into school. And Aaron started putting the things together, his parents, and he would keep me in contact with it. And we would go down, getting the information and that kind of stuff. But as God have it, God knows where he wants you to be. And sometimes the things that we think we need, we really don't need at that time. And God will take us exactly where we need to be. And sometimes too, when we don't end up with what we wanted exactly, God knows what he's doing. But Aaron is here today. And Aaron, I want to thank you once again for coming on with us. And I would like you to chat with us about your development in Trinidad, and also to your transformation from Trinidad and Tobago to the US right now. And I believe you are over in the US, what, 2 or 3 months now, it's so long?
Been here for a month now.
Okay, so you can go ahead, Aaron. We're all here.
Okay, so thanks again, Coach, for those kind words. So I'll start off with my process in getting into the college system. So when I was young, it was always my goal to, make it as a professional footballer, and it still is. And over talking to my parents and all these people and all this advice, I've learned that the best way for me may have been to go to a college where I would be able to get my degree and have a backup plan academically. So if you would just excuse me for a second, someone's knocking on my door.
Sure. It's okay. Go ahead. It's okay. We're fine. We're waiting you, Aaron. Yes, guys. So Aaron is in a dome right now where he's living on campus, I believe. So if someone is knocking, which means he's sharing his room with someone. And it's so breathtaking to really, or so wonderful to have Aaron with us. And Aaron is going to really give you guys, those of you in the audience who is really trying to get into school, to have a better understanding of that Aaron has to make. Yes, Aaron, go ahead.
Yeah, so one of my teammates was just asking for his blanket back.
It's okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I was a part of QPCC Football Club. I was a part of North Zone and a part of Fatima College. So with these clubs, I've been on a lot of showcases, um, like the Dallas Cup, the U.S. Youth Showcase, and also Disney Cup. So those are the steps that I took to try to get exposure with these college coaches. I was My mistake in that aspect was not emailing the coaches before I went to these showcases. Um, it may have been because of a lack of knowledge, or I wasn't told to do so. But um, what I would suggest is emailing these coaches before you go to these showcases, so that you spark their interest and that they could come and actually see you play in person, because that's what they're looking for. So um, having known that I should start emailing coaches to get interest that they wouldn't just come to me, but I would have to come to them. In lower six, which is the second to last year of secondary school, I just started to message coaches like crazy. So I would say in total, I have messaged about over 150 schools from, let's say, March 2020. As soon as COVID started, I joined a platform called NCSA, and I started to message coaches like crazy. I would send them my highlight videos, my resumes, my grades, and I would make each email unique to the school, so that they understand that I'm really interested. Now, out of these coaches, I would say about only about 25 coaches may have replied, and these coaches replied that their squads were already full. Now, bear in mind, this is a year in advance. They have already finished recruiting a whole year in advance. So if I'd email them around, let's say, summer of 2020. Their season would have started. They would have already gotten their class for the summer of 2021. So that's how early that these top schools move. So out of those, let's say 30 coaches um, that had full squads, I would say about 10 of them were interested, and I probably got about 5 offers in total. Um, Out of these over 150 plus schools that I messaged, about 5 of them ended up actually being opportunities. So that's how low the percentage is of the interest that you get from coaches. So early on in the process, yeah. So early on in the process, I actually reached out to Coach Roy. I got his number from a group chat, and I had never talked to Coach Roy before, but I was hungry in getting out of my comfort zone. I had to talk to people I never talked to before. I had to message them, introduce myself, be kind, and Coach Roy was very welcoming to me. He organized a chat with me on the phone. I remember sitting out with my mom, who's actually here on the call right now, and we spoke to Coach Roy, and he was just encouraging us, giving us advice. And what really stood out to me was that he was doing everything for free. So that showed me that that was his passion to help students like me to get to the next level, to just serve them and to help them to achieve their goals. So he sent out my videos. I actually got some interest from schools that he sent out to, and what was very important is that even though he had done his part and I got the offers, I still wanted to keep in touch with him, because I know it's important to keep in touch with all your coaches. So over the process, I kept on messaging him, making sure that I was on the right track, just touching base with him, even if to ask him how his day was and all those things. So let's fast forward a year later now. So I started in messaging coaches like say 2020 summer. Let's fast forward to the summer of 2021, which is a few months ago. It was May, and my number one school, as coach said, was Howard University. The coach was interested in me, and I was just waiting on the academic side of things. So it was May, which is very late in the process because preseason starts 2 months after May in July. So I had 2 months to decide if this is going to be my school. So I waited for the academic counselor to reply to me on how much the offer would be. And it ended up, unfortunately, that even though with my grades and SATs, due to COVID, they weren't really able to give a lot of money, and it wasn't within my budget. So this was actually the most difficult part of the process for me because I closed all other doors basically, and I put all my eggs in one basket for the school that I really wanted to go to, and it just ended up that it wasn't God's will for me to go to this school. So it was May, the start of May. I had 2 months to basically start over everything, get more connections. What I was working on for a whole year, I had 2 months to get an offer from another school. So it was actually very difficult for me. This is probably the lowest part I've been in the process. It was very challenging mentally because I didn't want to get stuck in Trinidad for a whole year again with no football to play and no improvement, no getting to the next level. That was probably the most difficult part for me. And so what I did is what we always do in the hard times. I prayed, I asked God, what to do, and I just said, I remember telling him I'm not giving up and no matter what. So with this mindset, I after 2 weeks of probably being down and disappointed, I just got back up. I started to message coaches every day. I tried different techniques, tried to go to what may seem like the lower divisions, like the NAIA division and the junior college divisions, which in fact is not, which is a myth that is a lower division. It's all basically the same thing. I um I humbled myself, started to message these coaches, and let's say after about 3 weeks, all of a sudden I had about 4 offers from these schools. And now these offers were somewhere within my budget, somewhere slightly off my budget, but I was very grateful because about a few weeks before that I had no offers. So I had to decide on one school. Um, I had to decide on one of these 4 offers. I had to talk to my parents. I had to find out the budget. There's a lot of paperwork and analyzation that goes towards picking a school. It's not just the soccer. It's about the academics, where the school is, how it fits in, what documents you have to get in order to go to the school. So I was working on that, and I decided to call all my coaches, of course, to get advice on which school to go to. So um, one of the coaches, which was actually Coach Dion, um, Lafayette, he told me to just pray and ask God whatever is His will to open that door. So 2 days later after that, I was on the couch just watching some TV with my dad, and I got a message from this coach, this random coach that I've never spoke to before. I never emailed them. I never even heard of their school. I got this message from the coach, and I thought it was just one of those spam messages where a coach would ask you to come to the camp or they're just trying to make money. So I kind of just left it. I didn't think anything of it. And then the next day, I saw the message, and the coach was really interested. He saw my highlight video on the same platform, NCSA, and he wanted to organize a call with me. And I called him, and it actually ended up being the best overall offer in terms of soccer, in terms of the my budget, in terms of the academics. So that's how I actually ended up here. It actually wasn't a school that I messaged, but God actually opened the door for me, and so I'm very grateful for that. So that was basically my process over the past year into getting into the college system so far.